I'm going to start recording. All right. Thank you guys so much for hopping on tonight's call. I'm so excited to have our guest speaker tonight. Her name is Amber, and her and I met in kind of a random way at Summit this year. I sat down on the floor level with all of the top coaches and like the Success Club All-Stars and the, is it team? I always forget on the leadership ladder. Team leader? I can't remember. Anyways, so we were down there and I'm sitting down there with Nicole Sudbeck and we're really enjoying the night. And I look over and this girl who is sitting next to me is wearing this beautiful dress, and I look at her hands and she has these finger tattoos that literally the week before I had, yes, see, there they are. I had just started putting together a vision board, and one of the things that I wanted to put on my vision board was more tattoos, and they literally look exactly like her tattoos, so I had to say something. So we just kind of connected then, and I made sure I added her on Facebook, and we connected up after Summit, and just, we've gotten along really well. And so I'm just so excited to have her on the call tonight. She has been a coach since March of last year. She is a 2-star diamond coach, and she is going to share the power of your story. So take it away, sister.
Yay. Thank you so much for that. I get super weirded out by people saying stats about me. I always say on every call, I'm not those stats. I'm just like a mom and just a normal person. And so it's weird for me to even hear that. But I just don't feel like I'm defined by those things. I've never chased rank or recognition. I just always focus on helping more people every day. So whatever that means and whatever rank comes, this is just a side note, but I always teach my team, focus on helping people and the money will come, the recognition will come. So that's kind of my motto for as a leader. But I did put together some just super simple slides so that I don't have to see my face on here because that makes me super nervous. So can you guys see my screen? Yes? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about something that this just recently, and I don't know if this is something that you guys struggle with as well, but it was brought to my attention when I was doing a training that I realized the missing link that a lot of my coaches had, and the thing that they were struggling with the most is sharing their story. And some of them, it was they clearly said they didn't even think they had a story. And I was like, no, we have to fix this. So literally, I haven't even shared this with my team yet. I put together this call for my team, and I have another call that I usually use to share with other teams. But I was like, I'm going to do this because I feel like this is something that it keeps popping up in my personal development. It keeps popping up in my team. And then when I remembered I have this call to do, I'm like, I wonder if they could benefit from this. Everywhere you go, you see somebody everybody knows each other, and I still live here. So I didn't get very far. It's home of the manatee. That's our thing. It's Christian River, Florida, in case any of you guys know that. But so I grew up here my whole life, and I was raised by my mom and my stepdad. My real dad actually was not in the picture very much. He was kind of in and out of my life. And I was that little girl who always longed for a relationship with my dad. Some of my earliest memories were waiting at the mailbox as a really, really young kid, probably kindergarten age, 6 maybe. And all I wanted for my birthday was for my dad to there to be a card in the mail from my dad. So it was just like a really hard thing for me growing up. I felt rejected by him. I felt like I wasn't good enough, like there was something wrong with me, that he didn't want me, that he didn't have a relationship with me. And I always took that on as my burden. And that carried over into my adult life. And it really plays a huge part into how I fell into Beachbody. So fast forward, at 27 years old, I was an insurance agent. I was unhappy with my job. I was unhappy with my life. I was in $100,000 worth of debt because growing up without my dad and feeling like there was something wrong with me was the reason why he wasn't around. It made me become this adult who would put on a mask and I tried to show up to the world as like this perfect person who had her life together, who was happy, when on the inside I was falling apart. And all of my friends, with each friend, I would try to please them. I became this huge people pleaser, and I did things because I thought it would make other people happy. And so my life kind of played out into this whole scene that was nothing that was fulfilling me. But it was like I took the good job that I thought my mom would, want me to have, or I thought that would be a good career choice for somebody who was trying to live out this like seemingly normal life. I took on debt that I couldn't afford to try to portray this life that I couldn't afford. And nobody really knew the amount of debt and depression and just unhappiness that I was in, because I was so afraid not to be perfect. And I was so afraid that people wouldn't like me if they knew the truth, that I was carrying all of this weight of pretending to be something I wasn't. And it just got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And I think I was drawn to my coach because she seemed to have all the things that I was missing. She was being vulnerable on social media. She was sharing about things in her life that weren't perfect and how she overcame them. She was happy. She was healthy. She looked good. So that's what drew me to her. And I just kind of figured out that there was really nowhere else to go for me than to make a change. I had to do something. So to just kind of show you like where I was at, I had kind of created this whole life that put on a facade for everyone. And I wore a different mask depending on which friend I was hanging out with to try to please them. And none of my friends were really true friends. They all talked about each other behind their backs. And I was always afraid they were going to talk about me. And in January of last year, I went into a meeting at my job, and I made a base hourly rate, and then I also made commission. So I was able to make quite a bit of money, extra money every month on commission. And we went into that meeting and they said, we're taking the commission away. So for me, that meant several $100s a week that I was no longer going to be earning. And I had kind of created all this debt and gotten into financing things that I could afford barely. I was living paycheck to paycheck, but I could barely afford on the income that we had. And then the majority of my income was taken away. And I think for me, like that was rock bottom, to where I started feeling like, I started realizing I was never really happy in that job. And I didn't really know why I chose that career. And I started kind of questioning things. The other thing too is I have 2 kids, and I had this like desire to be home with them. I always had that. And I just started really kind of evaluating everything in my life and realizing that I wasn't happy and I wasn't where I wanted to be, and that I needed to make a change. So I started looking at all this like scammy stuff online to try to make money, like work from home and this and that. And like, I probably read every possible thing on the internet that you can think of, that was like a work from home job, like trying to figure out, is this real? Are they asking me for money? Whatever. So after a couple months of taking a pay cut, struggling, and, then, looking at those work from home things and trying to figure out how to supplement my income and having this tug on my heart to be home with my kids. My coach had been messaging me, asking me, have you ever thought about this? And I always said no, because I thought Beachbody was like gross and salesy. And I was like, I could never do that. And I just convinced myself that it wasn't for me. Basically out of fear, because I was afraid of it. It was different. You have to put yourself out there. And so I finally just thought like, this girl keeps popping up and maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. And when I signed up to be a coach, and this is so hard, like for me to even remember, like every time I say it, it's like the hardest thing ever. But when I signed up to be a coach, I put my program, my challenge pack, on a credit card, our last credit card that was almost maxed out. We had 89 cents in our checking account and no savings. And I just remember thinking like, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, it will work. And I'm going to do everything that I need to do to make this work. Whatever my coach tells me, I'm going to do it. And I think for me, that was like, if I hadn't gotten to that point in my life, I don't know if I would be here, because I've never stuck with anything. I've never stuck with anything before. But I signed up and I thought like, all right, I need proof. Still, I was still skeptical. I need proof that this is real, and I need proof that this is where I'm supposed to be. And so then I just, started sharing. And you guys, I don't know if you can see me, but like, I didn't have a big physical transformation. I didn't. I could have maybe lost 5 pounds, if that, but I didn't have 50 pounds to lose. I didn't have these amazing before and afters. And signing up as a coach, most people were probably looking at me going, why the hell is she working out, right? So I was forced to share other stuff besides the physical aspect. So what I started doing is I started sharing my story. And I hit Diamond in 30 days. I hit Success Club 10 before I even got my challenge pack in the mail. And I'm telling you guys right now, it's because all this stuff that I just told you, all that uncomfortable stuff about my past, about my dad, about my insecurity, about my the pressure to be perfect, about I had a really bad relationship with food. I would starve myself one day and then I'd binge eat the next because I ate based on my emotions, and then I'd punish myself for eating based on my emotions. All of that stuff, that shit that I carried with me that made me, I started sharing that, and I started sharing it unapologetically. And I want to ask you guys something. I just told you my story. And at any moment, were you sitting here judging me, or were you thinking about how you could relate to me? I want you guys to think about that, because I think what happens is we get so scared of what other people think that we hold back the truth about who we are. Your story is your truth. And we get so caught up in like, what do people think if we tell the truth? What will people say if we tell our real story? The hard stuff. But the truth is, when you speak about where you come from, what you're about, and where you're going, people don't think about you. They think about themselves. And that tugs at something in someone that makes them want to be a part of what you're a part of. Okay? So I want you guys to read this next slide and tell me, because I don't know any of you, so I don't know your story. You can tell me at the end of the call if you want. I would love to hear it. But I want you to finish this sentence, and you can write it down or just think about it or whatever. But Amber, if you really knew me, you'd know that what? Fill in the blank. What would I really, if I really truly knew you? And this is the hard stuff, you guys. Like, not the like, you know that I don't like my job. You know that, I'm talking about the hard stuff. That thing that gives you a lump in your throat when you think about it. That thing that you've been holding back sharing. Whatever it is, that's what I'm talking about. Write it down. And so if you are someone, some people from the last slide will have that thing that they're like, oh shit, she's talking to me. Oh no, I know what she's talking about. I was hoping, people wouldn't call me out on this. Why does this keep popping up in my mind that I should share it and I keep shoving it down? But some people might have to dig a little deeper. And some people might feel like they don't really have that thing. But I promise you do. We all do. We're all on this journey of life, and we've all had a defining moment. So hopefully this helps you. Think about something that you've struggled with. It can be internal. It can be external. It could be financial. It could be relationships. It could be just something that's been like a battle for you. Somewhere you've stumbled or failed. We've all had failure, right? We've all had setbacks. Maybe a time that you've been burned. So I put this in here, this been burned part, because I'm reading this book called On Fire. I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if you can see it or not. I can't see myself. But it's by John O'Leary. This is the best personal development book that I've read in the last year and a half that I've been a coach. Like, I'm literally so sucked into it. And I'm like, I got it like yesterday and I'm 51 pages into the book. Like, I cannot stop reading it. He was playing with fire in his garage when he was 9 years old, and it exploded. It hit a gas can and it exploded, and he was burned on 100% of his body. And he lived through it, and he overcame this obstacle. And part of it is like relates to this, because I have no idea what that's like, right? I have no idea what it's like to be burned, like literally burned, and go through that. But his story, it inspires me to tell my truth. Like, if he can live through that, if he can suffer through that and bear those scars, I surely can show up and show people what I've been through, right? It's just really, really super inspiring. And there's a lot of, it says, like the lesson in the book is 7 choices to ignite a radically inspired life. I haven't got to the 7 steps yet, but I'm just in his story still, and I literally can't put it down. So he talks about, finding your defining moment. And obviously that was his defining moment. And it was something that he tried to cover up for so long. He would wear long sleeves, and the only place he wasn't burned was on his face. And so he would try to cover every other part of his body and like try to fit in. And it wasn't until he realized that like his being burned was what made him who he is. And sharing that and being bold with that and raw and real and showing his scars and showing the world what had happened to him was what allowed him to find his purpose. So this relates to our business in the fact that, like, you guys know there's 400 some odd thousand Beachbody coaches, right? And I feel like I have like 100,000 of them on my Facebook. I don't know if any of you guys feel like that sometimes, but I know that when, especially as a new coach, when you sign up and you like your eyes are open to this world, you're like, oh my gosh, like, how do I make myself stand out, right? Or you get like distracted by the shiny things. You're like, oh, well, this person's doing this, so I'm going to do that. Or this person's doing that. It looks like they're having success, so I'm going to try that. And we get so distracted by this shiny stuff when the truth about it is, like, the thing that's going to make you successful in this business is doing the vital behaviors and sharing your story. Like, that's it. Sharing, inviting with your experiences, posting your story as your post for the day, showing up on social media with your story, and doing the workouts and sharing how it's helping you, right? That's the only thing that we have that sets us apart from all of those other people. Otherwise, we're just showing up with a workout and a shake. And I hate to tell you guys, but nobody gives a shit about the workout or the shake. They don't care about that. That's not what is going to attract your tribe, right? Because they can get on Facebook and they can see 10 other people with a workout and a shake. That's not where you're going to get your lifers. The people who sign up and run with you and are connected with you so deeply that they're never going to give up until you all reach this goal together, which that's what a team does. So if you're somebody who's been doing the vital behaviors and you're going, why isn't this working for me? I really want you to ask yourself, how deep are you digging? And how much of you are you actually willing to share? So that brings me to the next point. The hard stuff is what joins us as humans. You guys, nobody relates to perfect. That Instagram, perfect lighting, perfect pictures, all that shiny stuff, nobody relates to that. What people relate to is the hard stuff. Whatever you've been through, there's somebody out there that needs to hear it. And the way I think about it is, like, I've been doing live videos a lot lately because that's like way out of my comfort zone. So anytime I realize that I'm really scared of something, I do it. Because every time I do that, then I realize, hey, that's not so bad. And I become stronger. So I've been doing live videos a lot. And what I realize is, like, normally there's like one person that will comment that spoke right to me. And so when I go to share the hard stuff, when I think about sharing the parts of my story that make me want to vomit before I hit post, I think about that one person who's sitting there like I used to be, going, nobody understands. Nobody else has to put on this fake, facade. Everybody else seems happy. Why am I struggling? Why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? Why can't I find a way out? That person, that mom who was just like me, that's who I care about. So I share the hard stuff, even if it's just for one person that needs to hear it. To me, that's worth it. And I hope that's worth it for you too. So lower the mask. And this is like this is what I needed to say to myself. But I spent all those years like pretending to be this person that I wasn't and covering up all the stuff that I went through. And it got me nowhere, you guys. It got me absolutely nowhere. And I'm here to tell you that in this business, keeping your mask up, keeping that facade or that whatever you're hiding, whatever it is. And sometimes it's not like this crazy story about your past. Sometimes it's like that you struggle daily with one of the vital behaviors, right? Like, do any of you have that? Like that thing? Whether it's like, you guys, I hate to work out. I hate it. Hate it. There's not 1 minute that I'm like in the middle of a workout going, oh my God, this is so great. The whole time I'm going, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I'm so glad it's only 30 minutes long. Like, I have to do this, but I hate it. And for so long, I was like showing up on social media going like, I did my workout. And then I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, I hate this workout. So what I started doing is I started telling people like, here I am with my sweaty selfie. And I was like, I hate working out, but you know what? I just did it and I wanted to die the whole time. But now I feel so good because I did it anyways. And guess what? Way more people relate to that than me being like, oh my God, I just work out. That was like the best thing ever. People aren't dumb, you guys. And nobody else is perfect either, right? So like, it's not only that, it's like such this like weight off your shoulders when you're just like this is what I used to do as a new coach. I was so afraid of like sharing the truth, but I knew I had to do it, that I would type out what I was going to say, and I made sure that there was a little piece of my story in there, and I tie it back to what I was doing, and then I felt like I wanted to throw up, and I hit post, and I walked away. I would like turn my phone off. I wouldn't look at it for like 3 hours. And then I'd go back and be like, oh my God, all these people are like saying, thank you so much for this, right? But in my mind, like I didn't, at that point, once I did that enough, I didn't care if anybody liked it, because it felt so good to tell the truth that it was like, it was freeing. It set me free. And then I got these people coming to me who could completely relate to everything I was saying. And those are my people, right? I'm not talking to the people who can't relate to me. You guys, if you're posting on social media, trying to talk to everyone, trying to make everyone out there your market, you are never going to attract the right people. I call her Linda. That's my person. Linda, listen, that's my person, right? Linda. So every day I get on social media and I talk to Linda, and Linda is just like me. Linda hates her job. Linda wants to be home with her kids. Linda had a hard childhood. Linda struggles with wanting to be perfect, even though she knows it's not attainable. Linda hates to work out, right? That's my person. So I'm going to find her every day, and I'm going to talk to her every day. So that really helped me when I was like, I'm not talking to everybody. I'm only talking to Linda. So lower the mask. Sorry, I get off track, you guys. I'm like I have such a hard time with calls. Because I could just talk for hours about nothing and just ramble. So anyways, I'm going to end it with, I don't even know how long I talked. It doesn't tell me the time. Your story is your gift that will inspire others. You guys, just like this business is a gift, your story is like the wrapping that goes around it and the bow on top. It's the thing that holds it together. It's the thing that's going to make your business succeed, right? And to be completely honest with you guys, like this is the best part about what we get to do. I went to a job for 9 years that I hated. I have tattoos all over me. I live in Florida, Central Florida, right? It's freaking hot. It's humid. I had to wear long sleeves every single day to work because it wasn't professional for me to show up and be who I was. And why do you think I chose that job? So I could cover up who I was, right? So I didn't have to face who I was, because that's all I did my whole life. And in this business, you get to be exactly who you really are once you find that person, because sometimes it takes some digging and some PD, right? And we're always growing and changing. But once you find that person, you get to be that person, and that's who's going to make you successful. So I hope that helps you. And I want to read, just like end it with this little passage from my book that I'm telling you guys about, because I'm telling you, this is like the best book ever. So he says, I don't know your specific story, but I know we've all been burnt, dealt with struggle, endured storms. We've lost parents, children, and friends. We've failed in businesses, marriages, and dreams. We've stumbled spiritually, financially, and physically. Yet our scars from these experiences, when we learn from them, aren't signs of weakness to be covered up, but symbols of strength to be celebrated. They are darkened and useless when they're covered. They're illuminated and inspiring when exposed. And then he says, we have those times when we were broken and healed are the spaces that connect us to our fellow humans. We may have grown up in different neighborhoods and gone to different schools. We have different jobs and different families, but we all know the pain of loneliness, and we all know the fear of being unloved. Those are the places that can bring us together. So often we push people away, afraid that they don't want to see the hard stuff, but the hard stuff is what we should be doing together. It's what joins us as humans. In the moment we let our guard down and open our lives and hearts, let our light shine so it can illuminate the darkness others are feeling. But that can't happen if you are pretending your life is perfect, creating a facade that prevents others from ever seeing the real you. Living life on fire means you aren't afraid to know and own your story. You celebrate the scars you've accumulated along the way, and you are ready and willing to live honestly. Otherwise, you'll never know the gift of your story. You won't know the power of your experiences. You can't embrace the beauty of your scars, and you'll never be a light to the world so desperate for it. So, isn't that amazing? I could cry. That's it. That's all I had. So let me stop this.
I am crying. That was such a perfect passage. And no joke, like talking about like if there's something in your story that makes you like want to puke before you post it, like half of this call I had butterflies and like felt kind of nauseous because there are parts of my story I've never shared. Most of it's because I don't want to hurt other people. But I will someday, but I love everything that you said. And there was some part where I wanted to yell out the Jim Carrey line from Liar Liar where he goes, "And the truth shall set you free." So thank you so much. I'm sure somebody's got a question or a comment. I will let you guys open it up.
I will go. I have to go first. My heart is racing because first of all, this is my strength. So when Samantha was like, this girl's going to share about her story, I was like, okay, cool. And then I was making stuff and then I said, I can't even finish my dinner. Like I cried.
Aww.
Thank you for sharing every bit of that. I can't wait to share this with my team. I wrote down one of the best things, the biggest takeaway is inviting with your experiences. That verbiage of that is so on point because you can copy and paste all day long, but until you talk about how that challenge pack, that stupid chocolate powder saved you, or that 30-minute workout that you hated to do, that's how you invite and that's how you talk to people.
Yeah. And the truth is, like, nobody cares about the facts. I to this day, a year and a half later as a successful coach, I cannot tell you what's in Shakeology. If you ask me, I'm like, I don't know, Google it. Like, I don't know. I'm not a nutritionist. Like, I'm just a mom. I don't know. But what I do know is that I don't have to pay $4 a day for coffee to have energy anymore. And I do know that when I don't drink it, I feel it. And that's what I tell people. And guess what? They buy it. They're like, okay, you know? So, like, nobody cares about that stuff. And the people that really do care about facts and figures, they're going to Google that shit anyways before they even talk to you. So don't waste your time.
You can keep talking. No one will say stop.
Yay, I'm so glad you guys loved it. I'm like so excited to share this with my team because I feel like what I was telling them is like, I kept telling them over and over again, stop posting a sweaty selfie pic with no value. Like, stop doing that. Nobody cares about that. And then I was like, and then they started saying, but like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what, and I think people get caught up in like, they think that their story isn't going to help someone, or they think it's like, because it's your experience, right? So it's like, some people don't think it's special, but the truth is like that one little thing. And I'll tell you guys, for me, and you probably even noticed tonight, like I just kind of like touched over it. For me, the hardest part about my story is the food thing, because that was the thing that like I battled with internally. And I felt like people would be like, oh my God, she like doesn't eat one day and then she binges the next and that, you know? And that is still hard for me to say. It's still hard. And it's something that I still struggle with. When I have like a really bad day in my business, I just want to go sit on the couch and like eat a whole entire package of Oreos and like not even look at anybody. Like I want to look like that meme that's just like, bleh, like that's me, you know? But when I started realizing that like nobody is going to look at me and be like, oh my God, they're going to be like, oh my God, I do that too. You know, I saw somebody like raise their hand, like, yeah, we all have that thing. And I actually learned at Summit, not this past year, but the year before, because I went as a brand new coach. I didn't pay my mortgage payment to go to Summit, by the way, you guys. So if you haven't gone to Summit, and then I made the highest paycheck that I had ever made that whole last year while I was there. So I don't care what you got to do. If you haven't bought a ticket to Summit next year yet, go do it right now. Seriously, figure it out. Changed my life. I'll never miss one. But I didn't pay my mortgage so I could go. And I was like, oh, please let me make enough money to pay my mortgage when I get home. And the biggest takeaway that I had from that experience was when you share your story, nobody is thinking about you. Like, get rid of the ego. Nobody cares about you. They care about how you can help them. And that's what we're here to do, right? I think it's all about like perspective too, you guys. Like, we seriously have an opportunity here that can change anyone's life. Everybody could use to get healthy. There's, what did they say? 270 million people are obese or struggling with obesity or something like that, like some crazy number. We have the solution for that. Somebody who needs help with their finances, we have the solution for that. Somebody who needs help on their mental game, like who's struggling with depression, anxiety, all that stuff, we have the solution for that. So if you are keeping that in your mouth, you're doing the whole world a disservice. And the only way to show people that you have the solution and you can help them and you can relate to them is to tell them exactly who you are, no matter what that looks like. So, sorry, I'm like going off on a whole nother call here.
Oh, I love it. Like, I got goosebumps again. So, does anybody else, we have 2 minutes. If anybody else has something.
Oh, somebody said, what's the name of the PD book? It's On Fire. And this is the guy, John O'Leary. This is so good, you guys. I've never even seen this on a list of PD for anything. I think because he like leads with his story that it's just like an inspiring story. But I'm telling you, I was like, how could I ever feel bad about what happened to me after reading that? Oh my gosh. Crazy. Thank you guys for having me. Can I take a picture?
Yes, please. Tag us all.
All right. One,
tag me.
Yay.
I love it. Well,
thank you guys so much.
Yes, no, thank you truly so much for spending the time with us. And I appreciate it because it was 10 o'clock her time that she did this call for us. So I really appreciate it. And go ahead and go follow her on Facebook if you guys would like. And if you need a link to her page, just let me know. I'll send it to you guys. So thank you so much, Amber. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Have a great night, everybody.